Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Okay, kita berjumpa lagi in these lessons, alright. For continue with lessons 05 week 6, alright. So previously already done chapter our lesson 04 week 5. Now continue with lesson 05 week 6. Okay, so for these lessons, alright, so this is part 1 of these lessons, right? So continue with the topics reportings, aggregated collective data using the group functions. Alright, so for today we are going to look into another functions that is group, right? So normally when we use a group, so the functions is group by, right? So let's move to the slides. Okay, let's start with the slides. Okay, so for this chapter, right, lesson 05 week 6, reporting aggregated collective data using the group functions. Okay, let's move to the next one. Okay, this is the objectives of these lessons. After completing these lessons, you should be able to do the following. Okay, number 1, right, identify the available group functions, right? And number 2, describe the use of group functions. So bila kita nak gunakan the group functions, and also group data by using the group by clause. Alright, so this is our main agenda here, and also includes or excludes group row by using the having. Alright, so having, having is actually replacing where. So before this we have select from where. So normally when we have a group by, so group by will pair with the clause having. Okay, so we'll look into this agenda later. Okay, so let's move on. Let's move to the next slides. Okay, so for this part, so we cover this area first. For the part 1, group function types and also syntax. Use average, sum, mean, max, count, and also distinct keywords within group functions. Null, and also number 4, null values in a group functions, right? Then followed by another part. Part 2 is groupings the rows. Okay, let's move to the next one. Alright, so group functions. What are group functions? Alright, so actually group functions operates on sets of rows to give one result per group. Okay, it's actually a set of rows, meaning that this is what we call as a set of rows. So to give only one result per group. Okay, so at the end of the functions, alright, this group will only give one result. Okay, so only one result. Okay, based on a set of rows. Okay, so if let's say in these situations, so we want to know the outputs of minimum salary in the employees table. So minimum is only one output. There's only one minimum numbers. There's no 2 or 3 minimum numbers. So the outputs will give us only one result. Okay, so let's move to the next one. Okay, types of group functions for these lessons. Alright, we have average, count, max, mean, standard deviations, sums, and also variance. Alright, so like the previous slides, so this is consider a set of rows, so many rows as an input to this group functions, okay, using this one, and will produce only one result. This will produce only one result. Okay, so number 1, average. So average is average value of n, ignoring the null values. Okay, listen carefully. In this group function, types of group functions, all group functions will ignore the null functions except this one. Okay, except for the count. Okay, let's say for the count is a number of rows where values evaluates to something other than null. Alright, so count will evaluates to something other than null. So meaning that not inclusive the null. Okay, so count all using star, including duplicates row and also row with null. Okay, so the difference is, yang pertama, kalau let's say kita akan gunakan count sahaja. Okay, count and then expressions, right, to evaluate something other than null. But then if let's say we use count all star, star means count all, so this will include the duplicates and also rows with null. Okay, so compared to others, let's say another example here is a max value of the expressions ignoring null value. So meaning that null is not part of the input value, the value of the nulls. So same goes to min, and minimum value of expression also ignoring nulls. And standard deviations of n, and also ignore null. So meaning that if let's say in this list of values rows, they have a null inside there, so when we use this group function, it will ignore the null values. And same goes to sums, sums value of n, campur, also ignore null value, and also variance, variance value of n ignoring null value, except for count all. Okay, the rest will ignore the null value. Okay, so please be careful. Alright, so null in this example is not inclusive. Okay, so this is for the group function syntax. Right, select group functions and column. So meaning that group function is like the previous examples, min, max, average, avg, and so on. Okay, refer to the previous slides. And what column, which column do you want to use these group functions? Okay, from tables, where is a conditions, and maybe we can order by column. Okay, so order by is later. Right, so guideline for using the group functions. Okay, number one, please make sure number one is distinct. Distinct makes the functions consider only non-duplicates value. Alright, I think you already heard about these functions and distinct. So if let's say we have 10, 10, 20, 30, 10, 40. Okay, so if let's say we using distinct, right, so the output will including consider only non-duplicates. Okay, so if let's say this is the output, yes, okay, this one is duplicate or not? Yeah, this is duplicate, the same number, so this will not produce an output. Number 20, 20, yes, we will put here. 30, 30, yes, here. Then number 10, 10 is duplicate from here, so there's no need to put 10 as an output. Then 40, 40 is yes. Okay, so this is only our output for the distinct 10, 20, 30, and also for 40. Right? Okay, so the next one, all makes it consider every value including duplicates. The default is all and therefore does not need to be specified. Okay, so for this one, all, in other words, is the star here. Okay, that means all. So it will include all the duplicates and also a null value, like the previous examples. Okay, the default is all and therefore does not need to be specified. Okay, so please make sure all is star here. Right, the next one. The data types for the functions with the expression argument may be, okay, a char, right, varchar, number, and also date. Okay, still we are using the main data types from the previous notes, right, char, nums, and also dates. And the next ones, all groups functions ignore null value. All group functions ignore null value. So like sum, average, mean, max. To substitute a null values, use the NVL. Okay, so this is the this is how you want to substitute the value for the nulls. Okay, so this is in our previous examples, lesson 0, 4, week 5. Right, so NVL, NVL2, coels, and so on. Right, so you can refer back to our previous slides or notes. Okay, so the next one. Okay, you can use using the average and also sum functions. Alright, so please be careful. You can use average and sum for numeric data only and number only. Okay, numeric is number only. You cannot use average and sum for character and also dates, because you need to count something. So when we need to count, we use only numeric data and also number or numeric data. Okay, so if let's say in this example, average salary. Okay, this is the column, this is the group functions. We want to search for maximum salary. This is column, this is group function, maybe mean and maybe sum of the salary from table employees, where job is like all REP. So all REP. So in these situations, the output, the input might be many, a list of row here, because everything that represent the REP, right, will produce the outputs for average, for means, for average, for maximum, for salary, minimum, and also sum. Okay, so this is only one output. Okay, so the average for salary is 8150, maximum is 11,000, minimum is 6,000, and sum is 32,600. Okay, alright. So the example display the average, highest, lowest, and sum of monthly salaries for all sales representative, because this is REP, sales representative. Alright, so it's quite simple here. Alright, so let's move to the next one. Okay, so using the mean and max functions. Okay, before this is average and sum. Okay, the next one is mean and max, right? So for the means and max, you can use mean and max for, right, so for this one, we can use for numerics, number, character, and also date. Alright, so for mean and max, we can use for numeric, character, and also data type. Okay, let's go to the first one. Okay, the example display the most junior and the most senior employees. Right, so we are going to use mean, hire date. So hire date is data types, dates. Okay, so data types, dates. Alright, so we can search for, we can find minimum of hire dates and also the maximums of hire dates from table employees. Alright, so in this case, minimum will produce outputs like this, and it will be based on the date, the year here, and also this is for the maximums. Okay, the first priority is the year, so 1987 is the minimum, 2000 is the maximums. Higher dates, 29 January 2000 is the maximum, 17 June 87 is the minimum. So still only one output. Okay, the following example display the employee last name. That is the first and the employee last name that is last in an alphabetic list of all employees. Alright, so select mean last name and max last name from employees. Alright, so if let's say means, it will follow this list. So mean is A to Z, Z is maximum. Okay, if let's say A first, this is considered mean, and if the last one is Z. Okay, so in these examples, mean last name, so meaning that able here is the minimum, right? And maximum last name is Zlotki, because of Z here. Follow alphabetical A to Z. Mean from A until maximum to Z. Alright. So this is also quite simple. Okay, count all. Right. So count all. In this example, return the numbers of row in the table. So it will count. When we talk about all, this is include or inclusive the null value. Okay. So please be careful. When we want to use count all, they will include the null value. Okay. So in this example, when it count all, the output produce 5. The number of employees in the department 50 is 5. But if let's say we count the specific column, commission PCT, alright, so the output is different. Okay, so the number of employees in the department earn a commission, on the commission. If let's say null, it will exclude. Okay, in this example, it will include. So that's why count expression return the numbers of rows with non-null value for expression. If let's say we count something expression here, commission, right? So the number of rows will with the non-null value for the expression. Okay, so please be careful when you want to use count all. All right. Okay, so let's move to the next slides. Okay, using the distinct keyword. Okay, count distinct expression returns the number of distinct non-null value. All right, count distinct. So count is to count the numbers of the rows, and when we talk about distinct, it will produce only non-duplicates value. Okay, so return the number of distinct non-null values of expressions. All right, use the distinct keywords to suppress the counting of any duplicate value in the column. Okay, so when we use the distinct, we suppress, maksud dia meaning that it will remove, suppress, dia akan ignore any duplicate value in that expressions. Okay, the next one, to display the number of distinct department values in the employee table. Okay, to display the number of distinct values in the employee table. So we count, and then after that we put a distinct here, so distinct employees. Alright, and then after that it will count. So in the department ID. So in this case, count distinct ID will produce 7 because it's exclude the any non-duplicate values. Okay, there's no duplicate value here. So only 7 department in this database, in this table. Okay, let's move to the next one. Okay, group functions and also null values. Group functions ignore null values in the column. Alright, so if let's say we put selects average commissions from employee. Okay, so the average of the calculated based on only rows in the table in which valid value is stored in the commission PCT or column. Alright, so that's why in this case group functions still ignore null value. Okay, so for the average, it still ignore the null value. It only counts the non-null value. All right. So in these examples, okay, so this is the output 0.2125, only one result. Okay, the next one, number 2. The NVL function force a group function to include null value. Okay, to include null value. So how? We are going to use NVL. Okay, so from the previous chapter, from the previous lessons. So if let's say we want to change the null value into any value, let's say, then we can use NVL. Okay, so in this example, selects average, right? So all the null value in the commission PCT, okay, will be used, will be converted or will be forced to use this value 0 because we are using NVL function. So if let's say in this expression they found value, So automatically when we are using NVL, the value will change into 0, okay, using this emblem. So please be careful also, all right, for these examples. All right, if let's say you put maybe 1, 2 or 3, so the output might be different, okay. Right, so this is the output, MVL 0.0425. Okay, so inclusive null, but the null is already forced to 0. It's forced to 0. Okay, so in this example, the average is calculated based on all rows in the table, regardless of whether null values are stored in the commission PCT, because of NVL here. Okay, so this is how. Alright, so let's move to the next one. Okay, so finish with the group functions, right? Using use average, sum, min, max, and also counts, until the null values in the group functions. Okay, so I will stop here for part 1 for lesson 05 week 6. Let's continue with part 2 for this chapter. Okay, so with that, thank you very much. Okay, see you in part 2, lesson 05 week 6. Alright, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh.